Are you ready? Are you ready for the news time? Yes, welcome to the Saturday News. My name is Phil Chambers and I am joined by Gareth Morgan. But before we get into it, make sure to like the video, comment down below what you think of all of today's stories, and subscribe to the channel. And if you want to skip to any of today's stories, the links are in the description below. Click the little timestamps and away you go. But first up, SmackDown was, of course, last night. And I guess the biggest news coming out of that is Jey Uso turning heel and joining forces with Roman Reigns. At the beginning of the show, they opened it up and it was Roman Reigns and Jey Uso cutting a promo. Basically, Jey was saying, like, you didn't beat me. You picked the one thing in the world that would make me say I quit. I don't trust you. I don't like you. And Roman was like, well, yeah, of course you don't, but these are the kind of things you have to do when you're the head of the family. And by the end of the night, you will fall in line. And then skip to the end of the night, and it was the main event of the evening. It was Jey Uso versus Daniel Bryan. They had a great match together. Daniel Bryan sticking true to his word of basically saying that he's now there just to sort of put over the younger talent, shine a spotlight on the new, and use that as a way to drive forward SmackDown. Which is exactly what he did in this. Obviously putting Jey Uso over. Jey Uso wins. During the match as well, Roman Reigns came out to have a little watch. And at the end of it, Jey Uso joined with Roman Reigns. He basically was like looking at Roman Reigns, and then he turned around, super kicked Daniel Bryan, hit him with a big splash in the ring, hit him with a big splash through the announce table as well. And then after SmackDown went off the air, which I think is the first time they've done this since lockdown, since like no crowds, they put out like a WWE.com exclusive video that was just the aftermath of this, and Jey Uso was just playing it really, really well. He still looked torn, like he still wasn't fully, he'd not completely changed his character or anything. He still doesn't want to be doing this. He just has to be doing this. And Daniel Bryan was being stretchered away. Jey Uso grabbed him off the stretcher, tipped it over, hit him with another big splash, and wandered off, looking very torn about what he's doing. But he has joined forces. The bloodline is a thing. I'm very much looking forward to this as a heel faction going forward, and to see the sort of nuances of this storyline of how Jey and Jimmy obviously still don't want to be joining forces with Roman Reigns, but they have to be joining forces with Roman Reigns.
Yeah, and then I think this is one of the first times in a very long time that I can remember anyway, where the actions of two different people completely inform a character that wasn't even involved in the specific actions. So it's like what Jey did and the excess and the way he did it, like he just went so far over the top with it and just absolutely destroyed Daniel Bryan. Really just hammered home the fear element that Roman Reigns is bringing into the situation now, when he was just literally stood in the ring and he was like, right, prove to me, show me now by absolutely destroying this man how much you're faithful to me, how loyal you are to the tribal chief. And it was just every single shot, every single splash, every single thing he did to Daniel Bryan, as an audience member, you were just like, okay, yeah, this Roman Reigns guy, he's seriously, you don't want to trifle with him. If somebody's willing to do this just to make sure they're safe and their family is safe and they can just carry on living and earn a living, it's pretty terrifying. So it was... Yeah. It was everything it needs to be, like you said, like the complexity in Jey, like you could tell he didn't want to do it, but it was like, if I'm going to do it, I've got to go all out and do it, or else I'm going to be ousted from the family. So the best thing on SmackDown, it has been for so long, and long may it continue. But going from the best thing,
you couldn't pick a better babyface to do it with than Daniel Bryan as well either, because like not only is he former world champion, so he's like legit competitor that Jey Uso beat in the ring, and then just this. Everybody bloody loves Daniel Bryan. He's got the most sort of biggest babyface reaction. Like you just love him. And so to do it to someone of that caliber just sets Jey up so much more. And it's just really, really good stuff.
Yeah, Bryan just being as excellent as he always is, really. There's never any doubt when that guy gets in the ring. And we hope he gets back as soon as possible. I think he should still be in that Survivor Series team, because then if he does get there eventually and Jey did what he did to him, there's a bit of conflict there, and we love that. But like I said, going from the best thing that SmackDown's had to offer over the last couple of weeks to the worst thing, the absolute worst thing. And it's not even been on SmackDown that long, really. I'm talking, of course, about the Mysterio, Rollins, Murphy cluster fudge that has been going on over the last couple of weeks all across, a couple of months all across WWE. And this week, it went up another notch, because Aalyah and Murphy had a bit of a smooch in the middle of the ring. They all night they were talking like backstage. They came out to the middle of the ring saying, "Oh, we kind of want to be together, but Daddy, I need you to understand, and Bro, I need you to understand." And so Murphy tried to call them out to the ring, and then instead Rollins came out and was like, "Oh, guys, I respect you both. They don't. I respect you. I'd even marry you if you like." And then they all just got very strange. And then Rollins was mocking Dominic. Then Dominic came out and battered Rollins, and then he tried to batter Rollins, and then Rollins turned it on him, started battering him, and then Murphy got on. It was just, if you're confused, that's what my brain was like all the way through this. It was just a lot of people beating each other up. But in the end, Murphy had been set up for a 619, and then Ray went to do the 619, and then Aalyah had to stop him, be like, "No, I love him, don't touch him. He's my favorite person, don't touch him." And then Ray was like, "What?" And he left, and then they kissed. And I felt really dirty watching this. I know she's a 19-year-old girl and everything else, so she can make her own mind up, she can do whatever she wants, and that's, all power to that. But we've seen this girl grow up in the spotlight in WWE from being a kid and everything else, and then just see Murphy, who's like this 30-year-old dude who's been involved in this horrific storyline with her father, getting his eyes poked out and everything else, and it's just, I don't know if this is what WWE want, and if it is, stop, because I don't like it.
Yeah, it is a bit weird. There's like a 13-year age gap between them, and it's just, it must be so awkward backstage between Ray and Buddy Murphy, and Murphy's like, "I'm just doing what it says on the paper. I'm sorry, Ray. I'm so sorry." It's not good. They're definitely embracing the soap opera side of professional wrestling with this, which it isn't a terrible thing to do on occasion.
The key word is on occasion there, Phil.
Yeah.
Not this occasion.
But let's just move on from this, shall we?
Please.
Speaking of SmackDown, obviously there was a bunch of Survivor Series number one contendership, like qualifying matches. The Jey Uso versus Daniel Bryan match was a Survivor Series qualifying match, so Jey Uso is going to be in the SmackDown Survivor Series team, and also Kevin Owens beat Dolph Ziggler in a really nice little match to also qualify. So SmackDown team at the minute is Jey Uso and Kevin Owens, and also qualifying in a triple threat match between Bianca Belair, Natalya, and Billie Kay. Bianca Belair obviously beat them all to qualify for the SmackDown women's match. Obviously Belair was in the NXT team last year, had a great showing then. She's having a great showing this year. She is absolutely the future of the women's division, so I hope they put her in a really, really good spot at Survivor Series.
Yeah, it did make me chuckle though, because all valid points that you just said there. I hope she does go on to be the absolute star of that division. But in that match and in the Kevin Owens Dolph Ziggler match, I think everyone involved in that match was on Raw about 2 weeks ago. And now they're all fighting.
It's such a dumb time to be doing the draft and Survivor Series together. Why would anyone have any loyalty about this brand that they've only been on for 2 weeks?
Yeah, it just, to expect us to suddenly be like, "Oh yeah, this means everything for everyone involved," after just seeing that. Yeah, it just leaves me scratching my head a lot.
The draft is a serious thing. You'll never see SmackDown superstars on Raw again until Survivor Series, because that's what we have to do for the belt. It's bad timing. Terrible, terrible timing.
Hey, but Phil, it's going to be the best of the best, all right? Taking each other on, which is the brilliant tagline being hammered home all the way through the show. So get used to that. But one of the genuine best of the best things that have been on WWE recently, and there's no doubt in this, has been the Bayley Sasha Banks rivalry, which has been going on forever now. But this is an example of things can go on forever and be really good, because they're just two fantastic performers. And Sasha Banks came down to the ring, she had a belt, and she was just really bossing it, and she was saying, I'll take on anybody now, I'm going to beat Asuka at Survivor Series and everything else. And then Bayley came out, and she was like, "Oh, well, you couldn't beat Asuka with me in your corner, so you don't stand a chance, and you always tend to lose your belts very quickly, so I'm going to challenge you to a match next week, and you're going to lose it after 13 days. So that has been set up. We've got Bayley, Sasha Banks again for the SmackDown Women's title, but it is Sasha's first defense of the belt. And I'm conflicted about this, because I'm obviously always going to want to see this match, because these two are incredible, and just anytime I can watch them battering the hell out of each other, I'm there. But equally, Hell in a Cell was not that long ago. It was literally last week, and we've already got another championship match between the two. I don't want it to be overexposed at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm with you 100% on that. It feels like they're doing this a little bit backwards as well. Like they're starting with the Hell in a Cell match, and then they're having a singles match on SmackDown. It's an odd trajectory, and it is so soon. I really like that they're bringing in the fact that Sasha doesn't have the greatest track record of holding the belt for very long. So I like that they're bringing that into the storyline. Interested to see where they go with it. But still, it feels like they're all of a sudden rushing this storyline when they've spent so long just really nice, slowly planning this out over a really, really long period of time. And now it just feels like they've hit the accelerator pedal a little bit oddly. I don't understand why. But speaking of things that are happening next week, Raw is happening next week, and there's been some matches announced. I'll go through the littler matches first before we get to the doozy. First off, we're going to have New Day versus the Hurt Businesses, Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin. We're also going to get Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler versus Dana Brooke and Mandy Rose. Both of those non-title matches. But the biggest match of the evening is going to be a guitar on a pole match between Elias and Jeff Hardy. The match stipulation that everybody's been waiting to make a huge return. It's coming back. It's on Raw. Guitar on a pole match. Yes.
What kind of guitar is it? That's my question.
I don't know if they've announced.
Like, if it's an electric one, I'm in. You know what I mean? Because that's you get hit by one of them. That's a big deal. I'm not saying it's awful getting hit by an acoustic guitar, but the fact I'm trying to dissect this to make it something I really want to see is not very good. Yeah, I don't know. It could be great. I hope it's great. But yeah, in terms of, it probably won't. No, but well, I don't know how to segue into this one. Well, maybe we'll see this match at some point on the WWE Network. WWE Network, you say? Well, let's talk about the WWE Network subscriber count, because we've got a bit of an update right now, and this is just a lot of facts I'm going to throw at you, because we've had the end of the third quarter of 2020, and they obviously look over the numbers at this point and see who's subscribing, what people are watching. So at this point, WWE Network have got, well, they ended this third quarter with 1.549 million subscribers, and this is down 8.3% from the 1.69 subscribers that they had at the end of the second quarter. And then this number, this 1.549 million, is up 5.7% from the 1.466 million that they had at the end of quarter three last year. So a bit of improvement there. And I think one of the biggest takeaways is that they've said across the board they had 2.4 million viewers for the quarter. So altogether a big total. And that includes the free version of the WWE Network. And of these 2.4 million people, they watched a total of 37 million hours of content. And they also watched, that means the average person, watched 14 hours and 25 minutes over the course of 3 months. And that comes out at about 5 hours per month that, on average, people watched. So if that's yourself, I mean, I think I probably watched more than 5 hours a month on the WWE Network that I can think of, off the top of my head. Like, it's, yeah.
I mean, 5 hours isn't that much. It's a pay-per-view and sort of a couple of other network specials or something. It's not a great deal. Like, when they throw out these big, 700 million watch hours or whatever it was. Like, I mean, we know on YouTube, watch time racks up really quickly, and you can throw out these massive numbers that sound really, really impressive, but kind of aren't in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
I think any drops that they're getting in subscribers now is not a great sign, especially since they brought in the free version, which is obviously there to just drum up more and more subscribers. So I don't know, it's not trending in the right direction for them, I would say.
No, and most of that information was revealed by WWE President and Chief Revenue Officer Nick Khan. So they said all that, but I agree with you. It's not that impressive for the most part, and even the stuff that is going up, it's not going up substantially. It's like 5%. It's not. Yeah. I think all arrows are pointing right now to the network being in a bit of a downward spiral. So we'll see what goes on with it.
Yeah, we'll see how long it takes them to get pay-per-views onto pay-per-view or something else, which is definitely going to happen at some point. Next up, let's move over to AEW. They have announced for the Dynamite show next week, which is the go-home show for Pac is breaking his silence. We've not seen him since March 11th when he teamed with Rey Fenix and Penta against Joey Janela and Private Party. And obviously he's been stuck in the UK for a very long time due to the whole global bastard lockdown thing. So I'm very, very excited to have Pac back. I am a huge, huge Pac fan. And yeah, very excited to see what he says, where they're going to go, if they're going to be able to bring him over to America for anything. Like, it's still all up in the air at this point. But yeah, very, very excited to have him back. So next week's show is going to have Pac breaking his silence. World champion Jon Moxley going up against, and Eddie Kingston, are going to meet face to face before their big match at Full Gear. Chris Jericho is going to be on commentary. Sammy Guevara and Ortiz are going to go face off against MJF and Wardlow. Shawn Spears versus Scorpio Sky. Miro versus Trent, and Cody Rhodes and the Gun Club going up against the Dark Orders, Colt Cabana and John Silver, and Number 10. So it should be a good show leading into Full Gear.
Yeah, it's just really trying to get as many people interested in that pay-per-view as possible. It's doing all the right things there, but obviously the biggest takeaway is that Pac appearance. And like you said, it's going to be interesting to see if they can get him over to the US, maybe to make an appearance. Obviously, we've seen Pete Dunne return to the US recently. He was obviously stranded in the UK due to the current global bastard and the rest of it, and he's made a hell of an appearance. So if Pac can follow suit and just completely shift things up, and maybe I'd like to see him kick up a fuss about the fact that Death Triangle have just dropped him like a sack of spuds and gone chilling with Eddie Kingston. I think that would be such a cool narrative. And I think I saw somebody on Twitter put something like, oh, maybe Rey Fenix could join forces with Pac because he feels like he's being left behind a little bit by Eddie Kingston and Penta. It just, there's a lot they could do. And Pac is, without a shadow of a doubt, one of the most talented people in the world right now in the wrestling industry.
So good.
So whatever they want to do with him, he'll knock it out the park because that's just what he does. And speaking of people who seem to just, well, I was going to say knock things out of the park, but at least try their best with everything they're given to him. Let's talk about The Undertaker, all right? Because he's somebody who's not really a full-timer anymore, doesn't really wrestle for the most part, and just tends to do a few appearances. And he's such an awesome character, he can just legitimately sell that character doing whatever he wants to do with it. And he tried to do this again on the Jimmy Fallon show, on the Tonight Show, and it was a bit weird, to be honest, because Jimmy Fallon was doing this audience suggestion box thing, which I'm not a massive watcher of the Tonight Show. I don't know if this is a really cool thing that he always does, but it was he'd take out a piece of paper and the audience would be like, oh, I want you to go and bob for apples, and he bobbed for an apple and pulled out an iPhone case, stuff like that. And then somebody said, oh, can you combine two of my favourite things, which are Halloween and WWE? Can you bring them together? And he was like, well, I can't, but I know somebody who can. And then they cut to The Undertaker walking into shot, and there was a pumpkin scarecrow, and he kept staring at it, giving it evils, and then he grabbed it by the throat and tombstoned it. A pumpkin scarecrow. So that was pretty much it. Really, he did the tongue thing, and then he went back to Fallon, and he was like, oh, 30 years of the dead man. Moving on. It was, yeah, my head fell off a little bit when I watched that.
Yeah, I've not seen this, but I'm very tempted to go and watch this now, because what's happened to The Undertaker?
I thought he wasn't going to come back as the dead man character. I thought he was done, but I don't know. Yeah. Maybe Jimmy Fallon offered him enough dollar, and he came back and tombstoned a pumpkin.
And on that note, thank you very much for watching. Obviously, like I say, comment down below what you think of all of today's stories, especially The Undertaker tombstoning a pumpkin. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, and go follow us on Twitter. You can follow me at FilmMyChambers, and you can follow Gareth
at GMorgan04.
And you can follow all of us at WhatCulture WWE. But most importantly, go and have yourselves a bloody good day, everyone. Goodbye.